So I'm looking for some ways to improve this mouse that I did. So if you remember, I've made this adapter to allow me to use an Amiga mouse in a Mac Plus as part of my Mac Plus project. But I couldn't get this to work with a standard mouse. So this adapter here was supposed to take a USB mouse and convert it into an Amiga mouse. Now I don't think I got this working on my Amiga. So I thought, although I didn't want to destroy this, it doesn't work anyway for me. But I've seen some of these online and they've got a switch to convert between Atari or an Amiga. So I'm just going to go into this and look and see whether it's got a switch in it, just in case that was the issue. This is just heat shrink, so I can easily just heat shrink something else back on it afterwards. But as it's not working anyway, what should I be bothered about ruining it? It might of course just be purely for the Amiga or purely for the Atari. Okay, it is from mouseadapter.com. Mouseadapter.com. How exciting. Alright, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have anything on it. There's no jumpers or anything. And there's a jumper there. There's nothing that I can see that would make it change. But interesting, those two ports there. I wonder what that did. Right, so either that was a fake one or it's not going to work for me anyway. I don't have an Atari mouse to try it with that, but that's not working. Spider-Math here from the future. Or was it broken? I've just got to jump into this video. I'll go back to it in a minute, and what I'm going to do after it is still valid, and we'll still go into it, and hopefully you'll enjoy what I do next. But was this broken? I've discovered it wasn't. Right, this is a much more modern USB mouse than the one that this is supposed to be used with. Now you remember when I was looking through that big box over there, I found this. Now PCs for a long time had these PS2 keyboards and mice. Quite often you had a green plug and a purple plug for the mouse and for the keyboard. But what they did, they produced USB devices which would talk both PS2 and USB. And so if you had a mouse that was taught to talk both USB and PS2, as soon as you plugged it into that, it became a PS2 mouse. This wasn't just a wire-to-wire adapter. I think the mouse had something to do with knowing whether it was going to be used as a PS2 or a USB. So I got myself one of these. Now this is, well, you can see by how shiny this is. This is a very, very used second-hand mouse. It doesn't mention PS2 on it, but it did on the eBay listing. So this is a mouse that should be able to talk PS2, and I think that's what this translates, and it needs a PS2 mouse. So when I plug this into the back of my other adapter, which I had on the screen a couple of minutes ago, then this worked. Although it didn't work straight away, and part of that was because I really had to push the other adapter into the back of the Mac. You remember how green it was inside it on the first video I showed? This 9-pin DIN socket on the back of the Mac has really had it. It was the most corroded connector on the back of that Mac. So I think at some point, maybe in the future, I'll swap that out for a more modern connector, because I think not only was that the issue, but also I think it was that this wasn't connecting with everything, because I really had to force this in really hard before the LED lit up on the underside of the mouse. A little mistake I made there, but just something I completely forgot about. So this might work properly with this mouse, but it definitely works with a mouse that can be both USB and PS2 as well. Anyway, what am I going to do next? Let's carry on with the video. Okay. So what else can I do? I wonder if I took this and took my wiring for it, I could make a PCB to do this, couldn't I? Let's load up Easy EDA and go over to JLC PCB and see what we can make. Okay, here we are at Easy EDA. I've just logged into it, and let's see whether I can find some of the parts for it. So let's go to Library, and the first thing, so it's a USB 9 plug. There we go. That's definitely a male one. So if we look at that from underneath, the holes at the back of there, those pins are with those holes. That looks right. If you look at that from above. Let me place 2 of those. All right, so I need a mouse. Let's zoom in on this a bit. So let's set this one to Amiga. Ooh, change it here, Amiga, and set this one to Mac Plus. All right, then we won't get them mixed up. So if I'm following this diagram, let's take that one that side, and I could probably just rotate that. I need to save this first, I think. So save that and then go to Format, Convert to PCB, and let's just see whether the bits look right. We'll just make it as big as it wants to at the moment. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so there's the 2 plugs. That looks about right. So I could fiddle with these at the moment, but let's go back to this and work this out. So the Mac Plus, so pin 1, which is ground, goes to Amiga pin 8. Okay, and pin 2 from the Mac Plus goes to Amiga pin 7. Pin 3 isn't connected. Pin 4 from the Mac Plus goes to Amiga pin 2, straight across. That's pleasant. Pin 5 goes to Amiga pin 5, which is all the way at the bottom. Could be triggered by that, but let's not. Oh, actually that's wrong anyway. Let's remove that. Let's remove that one. I'll click on it. Oh, come on, select it, click on it, delete. All right, so pin 5 on the Amiga, pin 5 on the Mac Plus goes to pin 4, which is there. Then 6 isn't connected. Then pin 7 is the button, and that goes to pin 6, but it also goes to pin 9. I think I'm going to leave pin 9 for the moment. Pin 8 on the Amiga goes to pin 3 on the Mac, and pin 9 on the Amiga goes to pin 1. All right, now that is all I should need to do this. That's it. That's this interface made on JLC PCB. So there's this thing about pin 9 then. So I think what I'll go back to the library and look for 2-pin header, and I just want 2 little bits. I mean, it's showing hundreds of them. Don't all them. Let's do header times 2. That'll do. Okay. Doesn't say what the pitch is, but that'll do anyway. So place that. Let's get rid of that. Let's just be nice and turn that round a little bit. Not that one. And this pin 6 going to pin 9, this is where it will mess everything up. But I'm going to take a connection from there over to pin 9 and a connection from there to pin 6. So all that does, it puts something else on the board, and it means that I've got that option of joining that to pin 9 as well if I want. Okay, so let's save that, and I'll delete that for the moment. Don't save. Let's try again. So convert to PCB, keep going. I'll just take that as whatever the size it is for the moment, and here we go. Right, so we should have the 2 connectors, and down here somewhere we should have, what's it doing all the way down there? We should just have the little jumper. All right, so I don't really want this to be very big, so it could just be the case of, let's just rotate these. So obviously need to rotate it so the bit sticks out of the board. Okay, so this side is the Mac Plus and this side is the Amiga. I think if I look at this, if I get that at the edge of the board there, and then this one is going to be the same, and this can go just in the middle somewhere, just inside like that. Well, let's put it there. So it's as easy as that, but I'm going to go and get a picture of a Mac, just so we know what side the Mac is. And I'm just going to import an image. So if I go to the tool here and do image, then I select an image file from my Mac. Okay, so let's set that to about 8mm. We'll see how that goes. Okay, that's fine. So we want the Mac this side, so let's put him there. In fact, let's select him and rotate him so the Mac's that side, so we know that bit plugs into the Mac. Move him over a little bit, and at the moment he's gone on the top layer, which would be on the copper layer, so we change it to top silk layer, and he should hopefully now, when he's deselected, look yellow. There we go. All right, so this here, let's call this I could do another one the other side for a mouse, but an icon on that side for the Amiga mouse, but I'll leave that for the moment. Now this has got to be, this is called U3, so let's change that to pin 9, and I'll pop that there. Now I don't need the board as big as this, so let's try and move the board a little bit. Hopefully I should just do it like so and move those back up. But this isn't always easy because it does things like that. I never know the correct way to do this. Come on. Right, I'm just going to do it here and here, and then to fix it I will just go to board outline, was it, I think, to set board outline, and that gives you the width and the height. So if you do that, if you've fiddled with those and made them go a bit wonky, that sorts it out. But I'm just going to round the corners off on this. I like doing round corners on board, so I'm just going to set that to 3. Okay, so that's all right. There's a bit there that sticks over, but don't worry about that. Really what I want to make sure is that the very edges of this sticks out enough so that all that this is doing is that's going straight into the Mac. And I'll probably have to take these out if it's got that on the other one to stop it, stop those blocking it, to make it go in firmly. All right, so the only thing that I would normally do now is just add a little bit of text, as I always do. Let's do 2 and go in and select that one, and I'll call this Spidermath Industries 2023, and I'll put that on the board somewhere. That's probably too big to fit that way, and I'll call this Amiga Mouse. Alright, so that's its name. Now it's going to be a bit of fiddle to do this, so I'll just mess about with this and get it to look right in a few minutes. But the last thing that we've got to do, and the most important bit, is that we've got to root these. So we go to root, and then you normally do auto root, and I ignore everything there and just do run. This doesn't always work. Oh, it worked first thing. So that has wired them all up for us. You see that? Really clever. So that's got that sorted. So just a few minutes for me to, should think of a funny name for it. When I can't get these to fit, I will normally duplicate it, which there's not a duplicate. I just do copy and paste. And then I'll make the first one Amiga to Mac Plus and change that to mouse Make sure that they're on the silk as well. Make sure those are on the silk. Okay, so I can save that quickly. I can just do a 3D view. And that normally looks okay. So that'll be the top of it. That'll be the bottom of it, unless I've done it the wrong way around. But when I'm connecting this up, I shall do a pin to pin test. And if I've done it wrong, all that I need to do is pop the connectors on the other side and it should work it out. So all I've got to do then is order this from JLC PCB. It's very quick to order it. I'll see if I can do that now and I'll show you. Oh, that 2023, that's on the top layer. Glad I noticed that. So that needs to be the top silk layer. And sometimes I copy, paste that elsewhere. I'll turn that, make that onto the bottom silk layer. Just make it look nice and drag it up there as well, just so that you can see what it is from the other side. That looks a bit rubbish on there, but it will be fine when it prints out. So let's order that. I can just go I think directly from here now. I think you can do it straight away. So PC fabrication, generate Gerber, and if I change it to here, let's say I want a white one, I can do one-click order and it should go straight to JLC PCB where I can order it. So I'll get that ordered. Not bad, £2. Make sure you change that to cheap shipping as well. Okay, let's change it to white, and that will look quite nice when it gets delivered. That was quick. I must admit I quite like the white. Looks nice. Wonder if I can change the colour of the silk screen. I'll investigate that if I have to do another version. Alright, so this is to replace that, as we've discussed. So hopefully these male D pins will fit in. Yeah, and the holes line up, so that's good as well. So it's just going to be a case of soldering those. Hopefully I've got the pins right. I'll give these a bit of flux to start with. I can't get into the middle, but we'll do the sides. Hopefully it will help, and the top. Okay, that looks nice, so I suppose it's just a case of trying it now. So there's my little Mac symbol, so hopefully that will just go in there. I haven't changed this plug yet, but that's another project. But yeah, that fits in there quite nicely. I can push it in securely, but also it's nice having something to grip onto to pull it out, so that's good as well. So let's put that in there. This is going to be a bit far from the back of the machine, unfortunately, but that's what I've got now, but it's a bit more secure. So I'm hoping when I turn this on, this is going to light now. So let's have a go. Oh, straight away. Did you see that? So that's lovely. So, and look at that. Wow. So yeah, that's much better than the old version. Much better than this mouse. Although I could use this old Amiga mouse, this is much better now. So look at that. I've got full movement because it's not got a mouse ball in it as well, so that's useful. It's got the laser, but look at that. That's responsive. So that's great. So I hope you enjoyed this extra mouse. So I hope you enjoyed this extra mouse video. So just a little bit more way of So just an extra way of using modern peripherals in this Mac Plus. Look out for the next video. And if you enjoyed this, please give it a like. Please give it a subscribe. Bye. Thank you very much.